Somewhere in your neighborhood, there might be a crow that remembers your face. Not in some vague, instinctive way. Specifically. If you've ever done something that crow interpreted as a threat, there's a real chance it hasn't forgotten, and it may have already told its friends. Recognizing individual faces is a genuinely hard cognitive task. It requires picking out subtle differences in a category of things that all look remarkably similar, then storing that specific pattern in memory and retrieving it later, sometimes years later. For a long time, scientists assumed this kind of precision recognition belonged mostly to primates and other mammals with large, complex brains built for social living. Birds, with brains a fraction of the size, weren't expected to be in that club. Then, researchers at the University of Washington ran a field study that changed that assumption completely. They trapped and banded wild crows while wearing a distinctive rubber mask, then released the birds unharmed. From that point forward, whenever someone wore that same mask and walked through the crow's territory, the birds would scold, dive bomb, and mob them, even if it had been months since the original encounter. Wearing a different mask produced no reaction at all. The crows weren't reacting to strangers in general. They were reacting to one specific, remembered face. But researchers needed to rule out something else. Maybe the crows were just being taught to fear the mask in the moment, reacting to each other's alarm calls rather than genuinely remembering the face itself. So they tracked the same masked individual's reception over years, not weeks. The hostility didn't fade. In some cases, it got worse. Crows that had never been trapped, birds too young to have witnessed the original encounter, joined in on the mobbing anyway. Somehow, the recognition and the grudge had spread beyond the crows who experienced it firsthand. That detail is the part that tends to unsettle people. This isn't just one bird holding a memory. It's social transmission. Adult crows apparently teaching their offspring and neighboring crows which specific human face to treat as dangerous, passing down a threat assessment the way a family might pass down a warning about a dangerous neighborhood. Brain imaging later offered a clue as to how. When crows viewed the threatening mask, activity spiked in regions of their brain associated with fear and decision-making, in a pattern that functions similarly to how mammal brains process facial threat recognition, even though bird brains are structured completely differently from ours. It's not the same architecture doing the same job. It's two very different brains, evolving independently, arriving at a similar solution to the same problem. That's convergent evolution, and it's a sign of just how useful facial recognition is for survival, showing up again and again across very different branches of the evolutionary tree. Scientists still don't fully know the limits of this ability. How many individual faces can a single crow actually track? How long does a memory like this really last at the outer edge? Does the grudge ever fully fade? Or does it simply become less urgent? Those questions are still being studied. So the next time a crow watches you a little too closely, or seems to follow your car down the street, it's worth considering that you might not be a stranger to it at all. Somewhere in that small, sharp-eyed head, there could already be a file on you, built from a single moment you probably don't even remember, but one the crow, and possibly its entire extended family, never will.